Hi, I'm going to talk about a formula for success by replicating the macro and the micro. Now, here's a thought experiment. Let's start with a dot. Now, this dot can replicate itself in both directions to become a line. This line can replicate itself to become a plane, or the line can also replicate itself to become a plane like a triangle. Or this line can replicate itself or curve at its boundaries to become an arc. And this arc can replicate itself to become a circle. Now each of these structures, this plane can replicate itself to become a cube, or the triangle can replicate itself to become a tetrahedron, or the circle can replicate itself or spin on its axis rather, to become a sphere. Now imagine that this sphere joins with many other spheres in many different kinds of shapes. So it may be bounded by a cube, it may be you have spheres that are bounded by a triangle or a tetrahedron. And what we have now is the structure of different molecular arrangements. So starting from, say, hydrogen, helium, moving on to oxygen, silicon, or even platinum, gold, or the more heavy elements like californium, einsteinium, or the heaviest like calcium and meitnerium. And we have these same molecular structures, or rather these spheres, replicating themselves in different ways to become the whole periodic table. And this is the basis of life and of the creation of planets. And as scientists would say, in different solar systems, there's what we call the Goldilocks zone. That's where things are neither too warm nor too cold, and we have the emergence of life and purpose. So when we think about this, the way that we have a point replicating itself to create everything that emerges, we have three stages here. There's a stage of what we call the physical or the seed stage. Then we have a vast activity where there's replication of a pattern that repeats itself on different scale to create all the elements, and that culminates in a purpose. And when we look at this, it's a physical, vital, and mental, or at a cosmic level, what we have is the arrangement of a flower, a seed growing into a flower. And this is at the macro level. Now it's interesting when we think about this very wisdom of how the cosmos is created, from the seed or the physical through the vital into flowering as purpose and intent. Then when we think about our planet and developments that are happening here, whether it's success at the individual level, or whether it's the way a team matures, or whether it's the success of a business venture, or the maturity of a market, of a successful, sustainable market, or even the development of different kinds of theories, whether they're theories such as the cosmos or physics or biotechnology or whatever they might be, what we find is that, in fact, any of these different strata of organizations that are successful go through, in fact, this model of this seed to the flower growth. And so it's like this model by which the cosmos was created that determines success at the cosmic level is repeating itself on a much smaller micro scale. And specifically, what we have is we have the three stages, the physical, vital, and mental. And any organization that is successful, whether they're individual, team, business, and so on, experiences higher degrees of freedom to the extent that they may successfully move through these different levels. So say up to a certain level, things may be very mechanical. Up to the physical and vital level, things may be mechanical, as they tend to be in this depiction here. But then when you cross over into the mental level, there's then the exercise of free will and creativity, and therefore things become much more effective and sustainable. So when we think about the development that's happened at the macro level and the development, successful development that happens at the micro level, what we see is that there's a replication of this formula, of this wisdom that happened from moving from the seed to the flower, happening in reverse from the seed to the flower at a micro scale. And what this in fact gives us is a formula for success, in that if we are to replicate this pattern going through the physical, vital, and mental stages, we would end up with much more sustainable development regardless of the level of organization.